Hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to, I don't know what this is, a rant. I'm going to fire the broadsides. Basically, this is Scarlett's review of being a reviewer, right? Something that I'm not traditionally done, but I've chipped away at for probably 6 months, something like that. I've learned a few things along the way. I'm not giving it up entirely, but we're gonna tweak the system a bit, tweak the nips a little, but I thought I'd just have a candid, honest chat about, what I've learnt and what my thoughts are. A spoiler alert, I still have much disdain for reviewers and reviewing in general. We should probably start there, actually. For those who want to cross it, if you've been recent to the party, I'm not really a reviewer. I'm like a let's play YouTuber. I guess you could say like an overviewer is the thing that I've been floating around for years now. The idea of pretty entry-level information. Here's a game, here's my basic thoughts on it, broad strokes info, off you go, make up your own mind, right? I'm trying to inform my fellow cavemen gamers, and I say that with love, right? I'm down in the swamp trying to find the next game that activates my neurons, and I just want to show my fellow dickhead gamers as well. It doesn't get much more complicated than that. But I feel like the entire space has lost sight of that, and in some journey to justify the work product or something like that, it seems very artistically driven though. Like I'm of engineering background, I'm of a technical mind, I'm that side brain. Like 90% of reviewers are doing these weird faux intelligentsia bloody think pieces, waxing philosophical about a game for 2 hours, and it gets to a point where they're not reviewing the game so much as using the game as a vehicle to make some sort of masturbatory think piece work product designed to what? To invite in and attract other fake internet intellectuals? At a certain point, you realize that reviews aren't really aimed at the people that they're supposed to be aimed at, which is just us, the dickheads with the money that want to, play a bit on the weekend after digging fucking holes for 50 hours a week and dealing with the wife screaming at you and having to pay the mortgage and the 2.5 children causing trouble. And oh my God, don't even get me started. But I get it. I know who my fellow man is, and they don't need some frigging think piece. What they need is some idiot like me that played a game for 2 hours, formulated a pretty basic opinion of the moving parts in a, dare I say, almost a triage type method, said boom, 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 here's what's going on with this game, bloody go make up your mind. And if you don't fully trust me, you're not fully convinced, the point is it's a Steam refund window, so you could go and buy bloody the game and do exactly what I did and formulate the opinion firsthand as well. Also, while I'm busy bashing all my fellow reviewers, this is obviously a shotgun scattergun approach. This is broad and generalized, and I understand there are exceptions to the rule. But another thing that really irks me is they're doing the same thing that games media does. Piggybacking, frog leaping, whatever you want to call it. The amount of games journalists that are only journalists in games because it's the only job they could find, and they're trying to go on to bigger and better things and work for the bloody New York Times or something like that. That's the only reason they're reviewing games in the first place, is kind of ugh. And then you have a look at video game YouTubers and the amount of them that bloody pivot their back-end PR and comms connections to AAA companies and try and turn this into some sort of writing gig working for said company or becoming a voice actor in the games industry. I just find it all kind of awful. And so yeah, that's why I got into the reviewing in the first place, was because I dislike and do not relate in any way to so many reviewers. And I'm not even necessarily saying this with hate in my heart. I think you can honestly point out a kind of incestual and corrupted institution without necessarily being mean-spirited. So what does all this mean, apart from the fact that Scarlett still does not like reviewers? Well, it probably means I'm going to stop reviewing, at least under certain strict requirements. I really don't think there's a point in playing a game for 40 hours to pass judgment. And I was trying to do sort of a price point parity comparison system for a while there. But funnily enough, Outcast actually kind of rocked my foundations a little bit and sort of shone a light on it. Now, if you're not across it, Outcast is a really fun, janky, Eurojank AA game. I say it with love in my heart, but it's functional. It works really well, but it's fun. And everyone that's picked it up on my recommendation have all come back to me and said that they fucking love it. Here's the kicker. It's asking for more than AAA price. And so the people buying it, my fellow casual gamers, they've got the money to splash around at what you could say by almost every objective metric that the entire status quo will tell you. It's not AAA graphics, it's not made by our favourite company that we've got friends working for, ergo it's a bad game. No, it's a great game. It's exactly what everyone wants, and it's asking a ridiculous amount of money, but it's only ridiculous because of all these rules that we've kind of been gaslit into believing. But how does this relate to me? I don't need to play Outcast for 20 hours to tell you it's great. I only need to play it for a couple of hours and do a video, and that's exactly what I did. And while I call that an overview, people take it as a review because it's giving you the review information that you're actually looking for. And I would almost argue, not to, sell myself on my own bullshit, that my 2-hour overviews, you could probably just call them a review, and it would be more accurate than an intellectual think piece that is not really reviewing the game so much as platforming someone to have a philosophical think piece that just happens to pertain to some of the themes of the game. So yeah, look, I need to ruminate on the back of this, but I'm not going to say play games for X hours. What I'm probably just going to do is daily overviews for 2 hours. Maybe I'll start calling them review. Fuck the hate that comes with it, whatever. But generally speaking, I would much sooner showcase a different game every day than potentially, I don't know. The other option was maybe I just review one game a week and just go hard on that, which I find a bit contrived as well to further spew thoughts. Apologies if this is a bit all over the place. I do all this in one cut, in one take. But I feel like the validity of a review kind of falls through the floor as soon as you're sort of doing it under sufferance. As soon as you're doing it up against an embargo, it's like, I need to put 12 hours into this game before this date. It's like, you're not playing it because you like it. You're playing it because you have to. If the format of your review is supposed to be one of abject honesty and recommendation in any direction, it's kind of undermined by forcing yourself to play some. What makes much more sense to me is a cursory look at the refund window. Again, I hold true to the 2-hour thing because Steam set the terms, and Steam's the big dog. They're the biggest dog of all. And if they say, bugger it, after 2 hours, if you don't like it, you can have a refund, no worries. I think that's as good a metric as any. But beyond that, surely you want to hear a review from someone that goes, I played this game for 70 hours and I couldn't put it down, and then they do a review. That review matters to me. Not necessarily the review of a guy, self-included as well, right, who reviews something because they force themselves maybe to play through the last few hours just to hit a certain end screen or credit run or just catch the embargo to put it up. Anyway, it's a wild rant. It's probably all over the place, but I think I've gotten my points across. I still dislike reviewing. I dislike the review space. I got involved in it to, change it from the inside. But all I really learned was that there seems to be an entire culture of fandom of people that just chase reviews for reinforcement bias, whether it's positive or negative. So fascinating, actually, when you get these guys lecturing and writing these huge comments on a review. I would have thought a review is to help someone figure out if they want to play a game or not, and yet so much of this traffic has been taught by this current status quo that reviews, in a kind of weird way, are aimed at people that have already played the game, or are already set against it, have already formulated an opinion. It seems to run contrary to what I thought the point of a review was. But again, this is just the vocal, sweaty cunts that write walls of text on your thing. I recognize they're only 1% of the people that even watch your videos, let alone put like a thumbs up or down on them. But yes, my disdain for the review space continues, and I don't necessarily want to be part of it, even if it is to try and change it. So yeah, I'm probably just going to stick with my method of overviews. There's a possibility that I potentially even go back to Let's Plays. As dead end as that kind of is for the channel, no, I don't mean anything bad by that, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be some fucking celebrity. I find myself a reluctant YouTuber with a moderately successful channel, and I kind of succeeded in my mission because I don't really buy games anymore. They just get given to me. So that's kind of cool, I suppose. But as far as the content goals or anything like that, I'm not shackled to do anything in particular. And if I do things that get me 1/10 of the views, it doesn't really faze me either. So I'm not really sure where we go. I do know I need a bit of a break because I've been a bit sick and overwhelmed at work, so we'll see. I might take a couple of days off on the back of this, but I'm open to feedback. But anyway, this doesn't need to go in much more longer. My main thoughts at the moment, bouncing off the walls, floating around in my head, are probably overviews in the form of a 2-hour review, which we've been kind of doing hand in hand with reviews. Reviews occasionally as they come up, like as in, hey, this game consumed my time and I clocked it in full and so I want to review it. But I'm also open to the idea of doing playthroughs and let's plays. I'm not really a streamer type performative dance for the camera type dude. People know this about me. Even though I make for a fairly entertaining streamer, I don't particularly love it. But even when I look at the release calendar and I see things like Frostpunk 2 coming up, and I think to myself, man, that would be pretty cool to do a playthrough of. So I don't know. Some thoughts bouncing around in my head. Anyway, I don't know how else to finish this, so we'll just finish it then.